Course in Miracles. We're in chapter 28. It's called The Undoing of Fear. And we're in the section entitled The Agreement to Join. And we're going to be reading paragraph 7. Jan, please.
Count then the silver miracles and golden dreams of happiness as all the treasures you would keep within the storehouse of the world. The door is open, not to thieves, but to your starving brothers, who mistook for gold the shining of a pebble, and who stored a heap of snow that shone like silver. They have nothing left behind the open door. What is the world except a little gap, perceived to tear eternity apart, and break it into days and months and years? And what are you who live within the world, except a picture of the Son of God in broken pieces, each contained within a separate and uncertain bit of clay?
And it's concealed within a separate, and concealed is exactly what we were just talking about. That the purpose of this dream is to conceal our holy identity, the Son of God. Conceal it so that we don't know it's there. And that's why we need these silver miracles and golden dreams of happiness to reawaken to that. Would you like to continue, or do you have a question, Alice?
Well, I was wondering, is this like for material things, who mistook the gold for shining of a pebble, and who stored a heap of snow that shone like silver? So that's like anything in physical, or?
Yeah, when you've made your goal some physical outcome, you've identified yourself as a physical body, because your mind and your decisions are all directed to achieve something at the physical level rather than at the mental healing level. So that's what he's saying. You mistook these things as, for gold, the shining of a pebble. You're thinking this is a worthy activity for your efforts and something of real value that's going to do something for you. Yep.
And we see ourselves in the ego as broken pieces, all individualized bits of clay.
As all other, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the fragmentation that keeps talking about. Fragmentation, separation.
Okay, Hollis, want to go on?
Be not afraid, my child, but let your world be gently lit by miracles. And where the little gap is seen to stand between you and your brother, join him there. And so sickness will now be seen without a cause. The dream of healing in forgiveness lies, and gently shows you that you never sinned. The miracle would leave no proof of guilt to bring you witness to what never was. And in your storehouse, it will make a place of welcome for your Father and yourself. The door is open that all those may come who would no longer starve and would enjoy the feast of plenty set before them there. And they will meet with your invited guests. The miracle has asked to come to you.
So right there in the middle of this paragraph is when you take on the healing journey, what you're trying to do is you're trying to leave no proof of guilt in your mind or in your experience, because otherwise sin is real. So proof of guilt would be any form of suffering. So that's what a miracle does. It shows you that what you thought happened, like the dog getting kicked in the dream, is not what happened in reality. So I'm not going to sit here and keep focusing on a picture that seems to deny what this book is saying about our true holy identity. So that's why it requires this mind training and the eyes of the spirit to see the miracle, because these eyes see the dog getting kicked or whatever. So the physical eyes see proof of guilt. The miracle leaves no proof of guilt because it's trying to witness to the holiness. Holiness is the lack of guilt. See, no guilt, no sin. So the world's purpose is to prove guilt is real. So it does it if you keep your eyes focused on it. You have to learn to focus to the Holy Spirit's perspective, right? So that's why you can't bring holiness down to the physical level. You have to rise above the physical level, above the battleground to see the holiness that's always present. Because if you remember, if this is a dream, just think about this. The holiness that we are is over the dream, above the battleground. Now the battleground is down here, and it seems to prove this holiness doesn't exist. But that's only because our focus of attention is here. You go above it, and you just go, this isn't even happening. Remember in the near-death movie we saw, where they're saying, I have all these memories. I'm walking through my life. I'm watching myself fight and all this. And it's like, now I realize that didn't even really happen. That doesn't mean anything. And yet, if you focus on it, it means everything. And so that's what learning to focus, to choose the miracle, is to focus off what's happening at the physical level and focus on the true identity that the Holy Spirit is trying to give us insights into. So that we are not deceived by the dream, which is trying to prove what isn't true is true, which is that we're sinners and that their guilt is real. So when you know that the dream has a purpose, it is not to show holiness. The dream is to deny it.
Okay.
Right? So that's why you don't have to reconcile the two. In fact, they're not reconcilable. The dream, thought system, ego, and the true thought system of holiness do never join. They do not reconcile. You have to let the Holy Spirit just show you this is true, this is false. And one of the things we try to do is put those two together. And then it's like nothing makes any sense, because how can that be happening and yet you be holy? Because they don't make sense together. They are separate identities. One's a body, one's a spirit. And they reflect different laws and different truths. And they will never be reconciled. One will just disappear because it's not true. Right? If we had to put them together, we're going to forever try. And in fact, he says, why we're caught in this dream is we're trying to reconcile these two. We're trying to make them both so. It's one or the other. You cannot make both of them true. Does that make sense?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's a challenge, but it's the way. And Judy's going to read now, right?
This is a feast, unlike indeed to those the dreaming of the world has shown. For here, the more that anyone receives, the more is left for all the rest to share. The guests have brought unlimited supply with them, and no one is deprived or can deprive. Here is a feast the Father lays before his Son and shares it equally with him. And in their sharing, there can be no gap in which abundance falters and grows thin. Here can the lean years enter not, for time waits not upon this feast, which has no end. For love has set its table in the space that seemed to keep your guests apart from you.
You know, when I was reading that, I was thinking, I wonder if that Bible story of being able to feed the multitudes it was really trying to reflect this truth, the same truth that he's saying. He said, the feast is unlike indeed to those dreaming of the world, for there the more that anyone receives, the more is left for the rest. Right? So the guests have brought unlimited supply, even though there was, he was talking about this, I think. And what is so great about the Course, because this is a concept that, until I read the Course, I would not know. The way the kingdom works, which is God's thought system, is the more you have, the more available it is for everyone, rather than everything you have had to be taken from someone. So that now you get to reap your harvest and inherit your inheritance, meaning be all you can be, because that is the way you're sharing this now. So that gives everyone permission to have everything and be everything. Like he says, for the more that anyone receives, the more is left for all the rest to share. Whereas, down here, if you've got something, then you're taking it from somebody else. If you're special, then someone else has to not be special. Rather than here, when you're glorious, like he says our true identity is, that's just a reflection of everybody's. So you get to, the kingdom sounds like a good place of heaven, where everyone is magnificent and has everything, abundance.